In 2011, a firefighter from Arkansas walked into Shark Tank asking for $500,000 and walked out with a headline grabbing $1.25 million handshake from Mark Cuban. Viewers assumed he had made it, but behind the scenes, the deal began to unravel, and his invention teetered on the brink. This is the story of why a life-saving product that dazzled the sharks never cashed in, and what happened after the cameras stopped rolling. Smoke poured from the windows as firefighters raced to uncoil hoses in the street. Jeff Stroop, already sweating under his helmet, watched his crew struggle with metal couplings at the hydrant. Wrenches scraped against the threads as seconds ticked by. 10, 15, 20. The fire inside grew hotter, each moment stretching out like an accusation. He could hear radio calls pressing for water, but the old threaded connection refused to cooperate, jamming just as it always seemed to do under pressure. 30 seconds felt like forever when flames were gaining ground. In those moments, Jeff felt the weight of every lost second. He knew that in a fire, time is not just a number, it is a matter of survival. The routine of wrestling with stubborn connections, fumbling with wrenches while smoke thickened, became a constant source of frustration. He saw it on call after call, where firefighters were forced to fight their own equipment before they could fight the fire. Standing in the chaos, Jeff could not shake the thought that there had to be a faster way. The danger was not just in the flames, but in the precious time slipping away at the curb. That frustration followed him home, turning over in his mind until it became the spark for something new. Back at home, Jeff turned frustration into action. His garage became a workshop, the floor scattered with metal shavings and half-finished sketches. Drawing on years of hands-on experience, he started machining parts by hand, testing different alloys and spring mechanisms. Nights stretched late as he cut, filed, and assembled the first working prototype. A connector that could snap a fire hose onto a hydrant in just seconds. The design was simple but rugged, built to survive the chaos of an emergency call. When Jeff brought the prototype to his fellow firefighters, the reaction was immediate. They lined up to try it, each one timing the connection and shaking their heads at how much faster it worked. Word spread quickly through the local stations. Firefighters who had spent years fighting with threaded couplings saw a tool that could change how they did their jobs. Jeff started collecting feedback and making tweaks based on what he heard from the field. Departments from outside Arkansas reached out, curious if the new connector could help their teams too. With each improvement, the device became more reliable, more trusted. The message was clear: if Hy-Conn could shave even 20 seconds off a hose connection, it could mean the difference between saving a home and losing it. Seconds save lives became a core idea that powered his pitch and his work. Early support from the firefighting community gave Jeff confidence, but building a handful of prototypes in a garage was only the beginning. Scaling up would take resources he did not have. The interest from departments across the country made it clear that demand could quickly outpace what he could produce alone. To reach wholesale buyers and meet orders from multiple firehouses, he needed capital, manufacturing partners, and distribution. That gap is what pushed him toward larger opportunities and ultimately led him to walk into Shark Tank. Season 2 of Shark Tank was still a new frontier, where deals in the millions were rare and every pitch felt like a gamble. Jeff Stroop stepped onto that stage in full firefighter gear, flanked by 2 colleagues from the station. The sight was unmistakable, a real firefighter, not a polished entrepreneur standing in front of the sharks with a tool born from real emergencies. The ask landed hard, $500,000 for 40% of Hy-Conn. For the panel and the audience, that number did more than put a price on a company. It revealed the scale of Jeff's ambition and the urgency behind it. The math was simple but bold. A $1.25 million pre-money valuation for a product that had only just left the garage. Jeff explained that the money was not just for growth or marketing. There was a distributor on the line ready to take Hy-Conn national, but only if he could guarantee production at scale. That meant tooling, raw materials, and the kind of working capital most firefighters never dream about. The stakes were clear. Without the $500,000, Hy-Conn would remain a local solution, unable to meet the demand already building across departments. The room was silent as Jeff stood there, helmet under his arm, asking for the kind of backing that could turn a garage project into a national standard. The moment was more than a pitch. It was a public plea to save lives, wrapped in the numbers and equity splits that define the Shark Tank arena. A firefighter in full gear grips a standard hose, twisting and wrenching at the hydrant. Next to him, another firefighter lines up the Hy-Conn coupler. The race begins. On one side, metal threads grind and the seconds drag by, 10, 20, nearly 30, before water finally surges through. On the other side, Hy-Conn locks in with a single push. 3 seconds and the hose is ready to go. The difference is impossible to ignore. The sharks lean in, eyebrows raised, as the stopwatch confirms it. Hy-Conn delivers a working connection in about 3 seconds, while the traditional setup lags far behind. Jeff does not stop at the demo. He lays out the numbers. The smaller Hy-Conn units are priced around $215, while the larger professional models come in closer to $385. This is not a gadget for hobbyists. It is heavy-duty equipment built for the realities of the Fireground. The price tag reflects the stakes. 4 departments are already lined up to buy, with 6 more in the process of finalizing paperwork. That is 10 departments ready to put Hy-Conn into service as soon as production can keep up. The sharks glance at each other, the mood in the room shifting from skepticism to real interest. The time savings are undeniable, and the early demand signals that this is not just a clever prototype. It is a product that fire departments are prepared to pay for. For a moment, the numbers, the speed, and the urgency all come together, making it clear why Jeff believes Hy-Conn could become standard issue for firefighters across the country. Kevin O'Leary makes the first move, offering $500,000 for full control of Hy-Conn's home and garden product, plus a small royalty. It is a clean buyout, but only for the consumer side, leaving the core firefighting business out of the deal. Jeff hesitates, knowing the bigger opportunity lies with the professional market. Then Mark Cuban ups the ante, dropping a headline number that stops the room cold. $1,250,000 for 100% of Hy-Conn. Along with the cash, Mark promises Jeff a 3-year job at $100,000 per year and a 7.5% royalty on every sale, forever. The headline offer shifts the energy in the tank. The offer is staggering, more than double what Jeff asked for, with the security of a salary and a lifelong stake in the product's success. Jeff stands at the center of the tank, weighing full control against a life-changing sum. The moment stretches out, every eye on him. Finally, he accepts Mark's deal. The sharks break into applause, and for a brief moment, it looks like a working firefighter has just become a millionaire. After the cameras stopped recording, negotiations took a sharp turn. Mark Cuban's team, now looking closely at the numbers and logistics, decided they did not want to fund Hy-Conn's manufacturing directly. Instead, they proposed a licensing model, handing the rights to a larger manufacturer who would produce and distribute the product. This meant Jeff would lose his operational role and much of the control he valued. The promise of $1.25 million, a secure job, and a steady royalty suddenly felt distant. For Jeff, the licensing plan was a deal-breaker. He had built Hy-Conn from scratch, shaping every detail for safety and reliability. Surrendering manufacturing meant handing the fate of his invention to outsiders. Weeks of back and forth led nowhere. No funds changed hands. No contracts were signed. The handshake agreement dissolved under the weight of conflicting visions, one side pushing for scale and efficiency, the other refusing to let go of the product's future. Today, every Shark Tank handshake still hinges on post-show negotiations. Over 40% of on-air deals never close. For inventors, the real test comes after the cameras fade. In the end, turning vision into reality demands more than a pitch. It demands relentless clarity, even when the spotlight is gone.